Hello, good day to you all. As always, I'm your host, Keir Thorkelson, and I welcome you once more. Please watch our videos, follow us on Twitter and Reddit. Now then, the story begins with a church, and in the countries of the north, many churches had a supernatural protector associated with them. The church grim, and it could take many forms. People do say, as in the early days of Christianity in the northern realms, that sometimes to protect a church and a churchyard when they were being built, that an animal might be killed, like a dog or a horse. And in the case of a horse, it might reappear as a great black horse. Or maybe, well, perhaps in the form of a church lamb. Perhaps in the form of a human. But in Sweden, well, this is where our story begins, near a place called Black River. And the church there, well, it was a prosperous one. Many wealthy people came to worship there, and as a result, it had the most magnificent bell, inlaid with silver and gold, the better to ring out proclaiming the glory of God. However, as the years went by, invaders came, the armies of another king, who decided that the bell should be theirs, and therefore they stole it, took it out of the church, and in the middle of winter time, they started to drag it over the river, which had iced up. However, when they were only halfway across, such was the weight of the bell that the ice cracked. The bell fell through, sank to the bottom of the lake. And those invaders were forced to return home with nothing to show for their efforts. And this is how matters remained for a while, with the bell that no one could retrieve. The local villagers, well, they went out to Black River with boats when the weather was fair, and they tried to haul the bell up. But no matter how hard they tried, they could only raise it high enough so they could see the very top of it. No more than that. And after they tried again, one midsummer's day, a vision appeared to them. And it was very strange indeed, for it took the shape of a lamb standing on its hind legs, with a black robe wrapped around it. The spirit of the church lamb spoke to them and said if they wanted to raise up the bell from the bottom of Black River, then they'd have to enlist the aid of 2 steers that have been raised on nothing more than milk with the full cream. That, and only that, would be sufficient to get the job done. So, the villagers went away, and they thought about what the church lamb had told them. And therefore, as soon as 2 twin calves were born, as instructed, they were raised on nothing more than the milk with all the cream left in it. Now time passed, and those calves were growing into fine steers. But one day, the dairymaid, well, she was there, and she'd been rather distracted. She had a lot to think about, because only the day before, she'd had a proposal of marriage from a young man who she liked a great deal. And he came from a good family, and she'd been offered a fine bride price should she agree to consent. A large sum of money and land, as well as movable goods, to show that the young man was worth her hand. And she was considering the offer very seriously. And as a result, she failed to notice, until it was too late, that they'd run out of milk with the full cream. And so she decided that rather than let the steers go hungry, she'd feed them with skimmed milk. Just once, it couldn't possibly do any harm. And a week later, all the villagers were there. Now that the steers were ready, fully grown, they were taken out with a strong rope, and they started to haul the bell up from the depths of Black River. And the work was going well. Indeed, the bell was nearly up onto the shore when the spirit of the church lamb appeared to them and said, "Those milk-fed calves," you can't even call them milk-fed, for it was skimmed, "they'll never do any good, and they'll never haul that bell up." And the words of the church lamb turned out to be true, because just then the rope snapped, the bell sank back down to the riverbed, and it was never retrieved. And that's the end of the story. Thank you all very much for listening, and please click on the notification bell and smash the like button. Thank you.